Attorney General Pam Bondi has contacted FBI Director Kash Patel as it looks like a lot of details were omitted from the files that were released. California Governor Gavin Newsom, he is desperate to save his image and starts a podcast. And Alec Baldwin freaks out as he's confronted by a Donald Trump impersonator. Now, Fani Willis cannot catch a break, you guys. We're literally finally going to hear from the woman herself after the Georgia court denied her Hail Mary request. As State Senator Greg DeLozal, he explained on X, for months, Fani Willis fought their lawful subpoena to testify under oath to their investigations committee. Yesterday, the judge again agreed with them and denied Fani Willis's motion to quash their subpoena. And to Fani Willis, he reiterated no one's above the law and that they will see her soon. Well, there you go, guys. In black and white from the Superior Court of Fulton County, state of Georgia, the order denying motion to dismiss or quash application to enforce witness subpoena and subpoena duces tectum. Basically, it's the legal order of the subpoena of the Senate. And really, many are saying this is Fani Willis just circling the drain and trying to grab as much cash as she can on her way out the door. In fact, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners just denied allocating what they called a substantial monetary increase for the county district attorney's office. This is after Fani basically threatened them, saying that she would pursue legal action against the board if her office's funding is not adequately increased. I mean, this is ridiculous, isn't it? Now, of course, this is coming from the same scandal-ridden DA that said that the decision to boot her off of President-elect Donald Trump's election interference case will infect the state's case law if it's not overturned. It's kind of like she's living in her own world and thinks that nobody can touch her. You know what I mean, guys? Let me know if you guys agree with that. I mean, I know for a fact that even Georgians are sick of Fani. Her and Senator Stacey Abrams. What people want to see is both of these women arrested for the crimes against. I got a lot of updates for you guys today. By the way, if you appreciate these updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and jump right in with Pam Bondi. The initial release of the Epstein list, it's being given out in phases. Not my call. I'd have just dropped the whole thing all at once. I'm not sure that works because I was at least expecting the entire list to be provided right out the gate. Now, obviously, this is disappointing given what we were all promised. Although the Attorney General is saying that the FBI withheld information. Can you believe that? The FBI, they're so trustworthy. Ordering Director Kash Patel to investigate this as soon as he can. Watch.
Last night on Jesse Watters Primetime, Attorney General Pam Bondi said this.
What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
So we were looking today to find out more about why the government's been so suspiciously protective of Jeffrey Epstein. This afternoon, a bunch of conservative influencers left a meeting at the White House with binders that said the Epstein files, phase 1. Once the binders were opened, people were able to see flight records and Epstein's Rolodex and a list of masseuses. The masseuses' names were blacked out, and the information from the flight logs wasn't new. Neither was the Rolodex. When we began to feel duped, Pam Bondi released a letter that says, basically, I was duped too. In the letter addressed to FBI Director Kash Patel, Bondi basically says, I asked you for the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. I received 200 pages of documents. I asked if these were all the documents, and the FBI said yes. Late yesterday, I learned from a source at the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and the indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the evidence of these files. Bondi's demanding by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning that the FBI deliver everything to her office, including all records, audio, video recordings, all materials related to Epstein. And she ensures DOJ will disclose everything. And she's directing Patel to begin an immediate investigation into why the FBI isn't following orders.
Now, I'm going to be brutally honest here, guys. This is not what they promised us, right? And if we go back to what AG Pam Bondi said, she sounded as if this was going to be this huge revelation, but we got more of the same things that we already had for like years. Although she did go on Fox News to say that she's being stonewalled by people in New York. Watch.
Yes, Mark. So as you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office. and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through it and I kept saying, there has to be more, there has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses, but the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. At this point, and given what we've gotten here with Epstein, it's hard to just believe these promises. Action speaks so much louder than words, so I'm hoping that they actually deliver on this. Now, Pam Bondi's letter to Kash Patel is asking for swift action. She also wants to report on the FBI's findings as well as propose personnel action within 2 weeks. Republican Representative Anna Paulina took to X to express her disappointment. In her post, she says, "I nor the task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents before being released today. A New York Post story just revealed that the documents will simply be Epstein's phone book. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for." Now, we're going to have to wait and see what FBI Director Kash Patel has to say about this. But I'm trying to be optimistic given that, he's talked about this before. And as far as we know, he is more than willing to release these files. Now, moving on, guys, California Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to mend his damaged reputation. Now, you guys might remember that President Trump called for his resignation weeks ago, right? Because of his response to the Palisades wildfire. But instead of addressing the problems that they faced, he's going a whole different route. Gavin Newsom just started a new podcast. Check this out. Now, of course, we all know that Fani Willis's original case against President Trump was just one of the whole Biden lawfare campaign. Criminal defense attorney Arthur Adalia called it out when he went on CNN with Abby Phillip. Now, more importantly, he clarified once and for all that all there really was no evidence President Donald Trump conspired to cause the January 6, 2021 riot at the Capitol building. Now, really, Democrats, they just don't know when to quit. Case in point, the Democratic National Committee just sued the Trump administration over its interpretation of executive power, even saying that the president's effort to exercise control over agencies could threaten independence the party depends on in the Federal Election Commission. And just in case you guys didn't catch that, that's them saying yet again that President Trump is a threat to democracy, like we haven't heard that 1,000 times from them already. I mean, it's either that or we're racist, right? Representative Jim Jordan, he just brought it up when he responded to Fani Willis, calling him a bully during Black History Month. Here, watch this.
Okay, what about Fani Willis writing you a letter accusing you of bullying her? Really, what would you like to know from Fani Willis?
Well, we've had outstanding requests to her for information. We've gotten some. There are people we want to talk to who worked on the Fani Willis investigation. We've deposed Nathan Wade. He came here and said basically didn't answer hardly any of our questions. So we want to do some follow-up. We're committed to getting the answers for the American people on that ridiculous investigation that she undertook, as well as the subpoenas we've sent to Kash Patel to get information on the school board's issue, the memorandum which said pro-life Catholics are extremists in the Richmond FBI field office. We want information on those 26 confidential human sources, 17 of which entered restricted space. None of them were charged. They weren't authorized to go there. 4 went in the Capitol, and 2 of the 4 who went in the Capitol were asked to be here that day by the FBI. I want to know how much were these people paid, how long they worked, lots of questions that we want to get answers to that we think the American people would like that information. So we're going to work on all that.
And as for Fani Willis trying to worm her way back onto the Trump election interference case, even CBS News' legal contributor Carolyn Pelosi had to say, check it out.
this really kind of got me. Is this her last chance to hold on to this prosecution? We know she's deeply invested, but she was also deeply criticized on many points as she advanced in this argument. How likely is it that she'll be allowed back on the case?
I think pretty unlikely. You know, the appellate court in Georgia overturned that trial court's decision saying that Fani Willis could stay on the case. There was an appearance of impropriety that, Fani Willis had engaged in this romantic relationship with a prosecutor she hired, Nathan Wade, and that the remedy, therefore, would just be that Nathan Wade had to leave the prosecutorial team. Now, the appellate court said, she and the entire office needs to be removed from this case because this appearance of impropriety really is too great for the public to stomach, and that even though there wasn't an actual conflict, that appearance is enough to disqualify her. Fani Willis is now taking this up to the Supreme Court in Georgia, saying, look, even though, that's not the rule in Georgia, that, even though there is potentially the appearance of an impropriety, there's no actual conflict for her office to move forward on the case. I don't think she has a good chance of winning. It's a pretty well-known conservative court, and they would have to overturn the appellate court. So I don't see it working out for her.
You heard her, guys. All the courts are telling Fani and that this appearance of impropriety really is just too great for the public to stomach. In short, Fani Willis needs to be disbarred. Some even say that she needs to be sent to prison for her part in the lawfare campaign against President Trump. Well, this court order is definitely a step in the right direction. Basically, a Fulton County judge has denied Fani Willis's request to dismiss or quash subpoenas issued by the Georgia Senate Special Committee on Investigations because Fani Willis was arguing that the subpoenas become void when a new General Assembly was sworn in on January 13th. But Judge Shakira L. Ingram rejected that claim and explained that dismissing the subpoenas due to legislative changes would create inefficiencies, risk losing evidence, and allow legal challenges to indefinitely delay compliance. Now, you would think that the Fulton County DA would know that, right? But what's even more interesting here is that Judge Ingram didn't stop there. In a separate order, the judge directed Willis to provide more detailed explanations for her objections to the subpoenas because apparently Fani Willis was saying that they were overly broad and sought privileged or confidential information. In short, Ingram isn't buying what Fani Willis is selling. The court found her initial objections insufficient, specifically questioning how attorney-client privilege, work product privilege, and law enforcement privilege apply to certain requests. Now, honestly, guys, at this point, with how much she's cost us in court time and taxpayer dollars, they should consider having Fani Willis pay for damages, right? And if Big Fani doesn't show up to the subpoena, then just arrest. Because Fani Willis has already defied this subpoena once, even saying that the committee does not have the authority to subpoena her. Well, the judge is ruling now that Fani Willis must comply with any subpoena to appear. But Fani's not giving up without a fight, though. She even had the audacity to ask for more money from Fulton County's Board of Commissioners, saying that without adequate funding to properly serve the citizens of the county, we have to explore legal remedies, which includes filing a lawsuit against the Board of Commissioners to seek a budget consistent with the number and nature of cases this office handles. She may as well have threatened them when she said, if they enact the proposed budget, people will die. Can you believe the nerve of this woman? Threatening government officials like that? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, guys, and hit the like button if you want to see Fani Willis face justice. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate the love, you guys. Now, it really wasn't that long ago that Fani Willis was removed from the Georgia election interference case because of her affair with lead prosecutor Nathan Wade that left what they call a significant appearance of impropriety. She took that loss pretty hard, guys, saying that the mid-level appeals court overreached in all directions when it took her off the case. She said that the decision created a new standard and disregarded decades of precedents when it found that just the mere appearance of impropriety was enough reason to force her off the case. And like with her threat to the Georgia officials, Fani Willis said it's essential for the high court to step in lest the majority's opinion be allowed to linger and infect the body of Georgia case law. So basically, Fani Willis has claimed that people are going to die and that the Georgia justice system will forever be lost if she doesn't get her way. Unbelievable. I mean, she's not even making any sense anymore, to be honest. You know who does make sense? Criminal defense attorney Arthur Adalia, when he called or talked about how there's no evidence President Trump conspired to cause the January 6th riot. Here, check this out.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
No, see, Trump lied about the election, right? And he's lying about everything. So what he has to do, he has to keep his narrative going that the DOJ is weaponized against him. And if they're coming after me, but they're really coming after you.
Well, Pam,
you know,
having no reflection on you, you have to say the DOJ was weaponized against Donald Trump. And you could say the Manhattan DA's office was, and the New York State Attorney General was. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I practice in this area of law. That case that was brought by Alvin Bragg in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was the first of its kind in the history of the United States of America. So they were definitely targeting him. I'm not talking about January 6th. I'm talking about Donald Trump himself. And I think he's got PTSD. You know, it turned out all right for him, but he almost went to jail federally. He almost went to jail statewide. They called his 3 adult children to the stand in the finance case. They took his companies and said you can't run your companies in the state of New York. So in terms of Donald Trump, the whole system was definitely weaponized against him.
Do you think that he should have faced charges for his role on January 6th?
I disagree.
The president of the United States? No.
The now president of the United States.
Him, personally, no.
Why?
Because he doesn't meet the threshold for acting in concert or conspiracy. There was no evidence that there was a real conspiracy under the letter of the law. No.
So you don't think that there should be any accountability for Trump's role in spinning up a complete farcical lie about the election to draw people to the Capitol? He encouraged them. He directly encouraged them to come on that day. He said, it's going to be wild. You don't think there should be any consequences whatsoever for that kind of conduct?
Not federal criminal consequences.
Now, if you guys remember, Trump issued a blanket pardon on January 20th to more than 1,500 people convicted of crimes surrounding the storming of the Capitol building during the certification of the electoral votes on January 6, 2021. But more importantly, the lawyer, Adalia, pointed out to Philip and Pam Hemphill, the January 6 protester who turned against Trump, that Trump's actions do not meet the threshold for acting in concert of conspiracy. Still, Philip doubled down and asked if Trump should have faced charges for his role on January 6. So Adalia spelled it out for her. There was no evidence that there was a real conspiracy under the letter of the law and that there shouldn't be any consequences, at least not federal criminal consequences. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. The way he talked about it, the real people that they should be looking into are the Biden administration and the Democratic officials that, according to Adalia, definitely targeted Trump after the 2020 election. Now, really, all you need to do is look at what they did. He almost went to jail federally. He almost went to jail statewide. They called his 3 adult children to the stand and the finance case. They took his companies and said, you can't run your companies in the state of New York. So for Adalia, the whole system was definitely weaponized against President Trump. Now, if you want even more proof, well, just look right here. The Democratic National Committee, the DNC, just sued the Trump administration yet again. This time, they're saying that the extinction of the FEC's independence and replacement with the president's decree severely harms plaintiffs by placing the head of the opposing political party in charge of interpreting campaign finance law for the executive branch. In short, they're trying to paint President Trump as a threat to democracy yet again, as if we haven't seen that a million times already from them at this point. But really, when you look at President Trump's executive order issued February 18th, it just states that it shall be the policy of the executive branch to ensure presidential supervision and control of the entire executive branch. I mean, he is duly elected president, right? Meaning he is the head of the executive branch of government. So are they saying that he shouldn't do his duties as president? I think they can call that election denial, right? As the order explained, the Constitution vests all executive power in the president and charges him with faithfully executing the laws. It also pointed out that since it would be impossible for the president to single-handedly perform all of the executive business of the federal government, the Constitution also provides for subordinate officers to assist the president in his executive duties. In the exercise of the often considerable authority, these executive branch officials remain subject to the president's ongoing supervision and control. So President Trump is going to hire people to help him out. What's wrong with that, right? I tell you guys, everything is either a threat to democracy or it's racism with the people. They even filed a temporary restraining order when Trump asserted control over the executive agencies by firing Hampton Dellinger, head of the U.S. Office of Special Counsel. So now, thanks to this restraining order, a fired special counsel is wielding executive power over the elected executive's objection to halt employment decisions made by other executive agencies. That's how Acting Solicitor General Sarah Harris explained the whole situation. Basically, Democrats and their allies are throwing every wrench, hammer, and toolbox that they have just to slow down the Trump agenda, even though the overwhelming majority of Americans voted for it and are in full support of it.
We need to change the conversation. And that's why I'm launching a new podcast. And this is going to be anything but the ordinary politician podcast. I'm going to be talking to people directly that I disagree with, as well as people I look up to. But more important than anything else, I'll be talking directly with you, the listener. Real conversations. What's going on with the cost of eggs? What are the impacts, real impacts to you around tariffs? What power does an executive order really have? And what's really going on inside of DOJ? Look, there's an onslaught of information that we take in. So let's take it to the sources without the typical political mumbo jumbo. In the first few weeks, we're going to be sitting down with some of the biggest leaders and architects in the MAGA movement. This is Gavin Newsom.
I'm pretty certain that this isn't any different from networks like CNN, MSNBC, and ABC News, because these networks have multiple shows and hosts who are already pushing back against President Donald Trump. Most of them also cover DOJ, and they forget the fact that corruption and wasteful spending exists within the federal government. And this is just another example of how top Democrats are out of touch with their base, because instead of providing an alternative, instead of providing solutions to problems, they're focused on keeping things as political as they can. Joe Rogan, by far the biggest podcaster in the world, he gave his 2 cents about Gavin Newsom's show, simply saying this on X. If the Ick was a podcast, obviously Joe Rogan is not a fan of this and is basically Gavin Newsom's way of steering the conversation away from the awful job that he's done in his state. Now, I want to talk about Alec Baldwin because he had a recent outburst. Now, Alec Baldwin is known for impersonating President Trump on SNL. He's made quite the character out of it, but it looks like he doesn't appreciate it when others do it. Jason Scoop, a Trump impersonator, he went up to Alec Baldwin to troll him. And as you guys can see, he was successful in doing so.
Alec, it's your favorite president. Look, Alec, I will offer you a total pardon, because I want to be friends, right? I want to be friends. I will give you a total pardon for murdering that woman if you kiss the ring. Kiss the ring, Alec. Kiss the big, beautiful ring. Come on, Alec. Come on, look at Alec Baldwin, right? He did that impersonation of me. It was not too hot, not too good. But look, we're back in office. You lost. Kamala lost. She's somewhere getting intoxicated. Look at that suitcase. Unbelievable. Well, Alec, if you don't want that pardon for murdering that woman in cold blood, you can call it first degree, you can call it whatever you want, but it was not good. She's looking down on me right now, smiling, happy. Thank you for confronting the man who took me out, who killed me, and that's okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
No, you realize, by the
Whoa.
way. No, look at me. I want you to look at me.
Sure.
You got a camera on me here?
The ring, no, it's the ring.
But you realize my kids live in this building, right? But I want you to know something.
We love the children. We're doing great deals for the children.
Be real careful.
Okay.
If this camera was here, I'd snap your fucking neck in half and break your fucking neck right out. So you know that, don't you?
Okay. All right, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen, class act. Believe me. Believe me. Okay. Oh, he's yelling at me. I'm a citizen of this. I was born and raised in New York City. I love you, Alec. Alec, look, Alec, you don't want to attack your favorite president, Alec. Look, I love you. I love you, Alec. He's got more balls than De Niro, that I can tell you. De Niro ran away. Alec confronted. That's good. He's strong, but also he's weak because he a woman. So that's okay, right? Look at this guy.
It's not surprising that Alec Baldwin melted down here. And as we all saw, he lost his cool. President Trump previously stated that he thinks Baldwin's crazy, which can be backed up by his clip since he literally threatened to snap a man's neck in public. But what are your thoughts on this, guys? Now, I want you guys to get even more information today from a previous video that I did. I talked about the DOJ dividend checks that are supposedly going to go out to American taxpayers. Checks that are supposed to be worth around $5,000. You don't want to miss that update, so make sure you check that video out right after this one. As always, appreciate your time. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.